Welcome to the Sober Life Rocks podcast. You may have made the decision not to drink alcohol, or at the very least, not at work-related events. Whether you've never been a drinker, are in recovery, or made a health-related decision, we see you, and you are not alone. In today's world, networking, socializing, and celebrations often happen over drinks, and the struggle can be real. Through this podcast, we're changing that narrative. We're here to create a community where individuals like you, who choose not to drink or drink less, can find camaraderie, support, and practical advice.
Hi, I'm Margie Schaller, and I'm the host of the Sober Life Rocks podcast. And I have my co-founder, Laura Nelson, here of Sober Life Rocks. Welcome.
I'm excited to be back. This has been fun.
So, Laura, this week I have been noticing on social media, there are so many people starting to ask questions like, what do I give my team as gifts for the end of the year? Like, people are just figuring out now how to reward their team members or coworkers. And a lot of people started saying things like, oh, just give them money. Or, oh, just give them, a bottle of wine, or, oh, just take them out to the bar and have a fun evening. And it got me kind of thinking, like, this is another area of people trying to be sober inclusive and not knowing how to do that. So I just thought, let's get together and talk about ways that we have ideas of what we can do differently. So,
and actually, I would love to kind of say in there, I think that the reason you and I wanted to have this discussion is because I don't think people think about it. So they, it is the time of the year where you're like, what do I give? Or I have to have a gift to exchange, or a white elephant. I go to a party. What do I do? What do I take the hostess when I'm going to the holiday party? Right. Mm-hmm. But then they don't think about it. In fact, I was just with my best friend and she was talking about having a baby shower, and they were talking about having alcohol at the baby shower. And it's, to me, I'm like, why do you have alcohol at a baby shower? Right. But it's just one of those things that it's just become so norm that you and I, now that we're in this discussion, we see these things and we think it should be important to bring to people to think about it, because not everybody in your team, not everybody you go to drinks or wants alcohol or alcohol gifts. And that's really why we're talking about it now.
Yeah. I mean, you know me, I've been secretly sober for 18 years before I finally broke my silence a year ago. And I actually was part of one of these white elephant gift exchanges about 3 or 4 years ago. And as everybody's pulling their names and you have the suggested gifts that you might give, this group didn't do that. This group just assigned names. And so the day comes and we all come with our little packages and we all leave them with the person's name on it. And so I'm seeing people open up their gifts, and there's these beautiful scarves, and there's, a nice CD or something. And then I open up mine and it's a bottle of wine. And it's like, I have to pretend to be happy because this person at least went out and got something for me. But inside I was just like, of all the things.
Right.
Of all the things.
Right.
And I don't even know anybody well enough who does drink that I could then re-gift it to.
Right. Exactly.
It's a bummer.
Exactly.
It's a bummer. Yep. And I don't want that to happen either on the giver's behalf where they meant well, or on the recipient's behalf where it's like,
right.
So,
which leads me to those who are listening. We have to stop being so secretly sober. It's okay now to tell people that you don't drink for whatever reason. And so that people know, because one of the things, and what I would lean into this is, if you do have a secret Santa or you're giving gifts, is finding out more about the person if you can. What are their interests? And yes, some people are like, I love beers or I love wines, but there's also other interests out there, pets or sports or kids or travel or whatever. So potentially leaning towards what do they really, what do they have an interest in? And maybe they drink at sports, or maybe they drink when they're traveling, but what do they really, what's the main interest? And the other thing is what's appropriate. And especially for work, we don't want to give inappropriate gifts that have X-rated jokes on them, maybe depending on where you work, but probably not. Also think about that with alcohol. Even though we assume everybody drinks, maybe somebody on your team doesn't drink. Maybe they're thinking about not drinking. Maybe they're worried about their drinking. So is it appropriate to even, because there are some inappropriate though funny, but maybe keep that within your family, inappropriate things out there that really you may be thinking twice about it, especially when it comes to alcohol and the stuff around it.
What's funny is that I remember going out with a group of women and we were all trying to figure out what restaurant we were going to. And one woman just said, hey, I'm vegetarian. Is it possible that we could find somewhere that has some good options?
Mm-hmm.
And everybody's like, of course. And I
Yep.
wonder, why can't we just say, if we're doing a gift exchange, is it possible that we could just have this be an alcohol free so that
Right.
nobody has to worry about that?
Yep.
Like,
Exactly.
it's an easy thing to say that doesn't necessarily mean anything besides, is it possible that we could?
Yeah. And actually, as an employer, if you're listening to this, it behooves you to do that, right? I was just at an event I was telling you about where they had a mocktail at their evening event, and one of the employees who isn't secretly sober but hasn't really spotlighted her sobriety felt heard and almost like put up on a pedestal because at the event there was a mocktail, and the owner of the group practice, the business, said something about having mocktails and want to make sure everyone feels included, and she actually felt like she got heard. And so as an employer, even not saying, well, does anybody here not drink? Does anybody not want alcohol? Just make it a thing. Like, we're going to just do an alcohol-free gift exchange. It's not saying you can't go to the bar before and after and have fun, but when it comes to the gifts, let's be inclusive of everyone.
Yeah. And we don't have to be bah humbug. So
Right.
last year I was invited with a group of people who know each other, who are spread all over the country, to take part in a wine gift exchange. And you would pick one person's name and send them your favorite bottle of wine. Obviously, I'm not going to crash the party and say, like, hey, could this be an alcohol-free thing? No, people
Right.
love their wine, and that's fine. I just said, cool, no thank you, not this year.
Right.
And
Yep.
and that's fine. Like, let people be people. You do you. But I think what we're talking about really is those work environments where, I don't know, it just doesn't seem as though that has to be the way that we go, that there's better ways.
Yeah. And I think that you and I, at the end of this, we have in the show notes, we've been trying to come up with some fun gifts that anyone can buy on Amazon. I mean, luckily nowadays we don't have to drive all over town. You can just click on Amazon and look for stuff. But even Amazon kind of forces here's alcohol ideas, here's some fun bar things or whatever. And so we've got a list of things of just other ideas that are thoughtful, that you can quickly pick, because also during this time, this isn't the one gift you're giving lots of them, and you need stuff fast, right? So thoughtful and fast. So just really kind of thinking about, what would I want? What would somebody else want? And then also being more inclusive, not knowing, because even though you might assume they drink, maybe they don't want to drink, so let's just kind of maybe take that even out of the picture.
Yeah. I mean, it's no different than, giving a boy a toy truck and giving a girl a baby doll. I mean,
right.
We just need to think differently.
Yeah.
And look at people as individuals who have their own preferences, their own desires, and not make those assumptions.
And I would even add to this too, as you're thinking about your gifts, showing up to someone's house. Like I was watching a TV show last night on my flight home, Firefly Lane or something. And they were in the storyline, they were talking about the lady was fighting breast cancer, and all the neighbors were bringing banana bread over. Everyone was bringing banana bread. And they kind of made a joke out of it. Like, she's so appreciative that the neighbors are bringing things over, but was banana bread the thing you bring people with breast cancer? Like, there was so many things of banana bread. Her brother showed up with banana bread, right? My point in the story is that when we go to someone's house, we just grab a bottle of wine and we give it to the host, and we give it to and you assume, like, that's kind of like the baby shower. You just assume we need to have alcohol, but couldn't we bring something else? Like, they probably have enough wine that they've, like a plant or an ornament or something further to display in their house, something pretty. Like, set yourself apart by doing that instead of just following the norm of what everyone does. Don't bring the banana bread. Don't bring the wine. Bring something else that's going to make you stand out. And I really do think if you want to stand out, we started this talking about teams. Do something different. Don't just do the same thing we've always done because that's the way we've always done it. Get creative and do something different. That's going to really stand out from everybody else and every other party they go to for the holidays.
Yeah. And I think too that there's sort of this stereotype that the women are going to show up with a bottle of wine and the men are going to show up with a,
Right.
case of beer or something. And I think that there's ways that men can grab something easy and go as well, that it doesn't have to be the case of beer. I mean, maybe it's just a bag of chips, but also, like, could it just be a pack of coasters? Or could it be a set of personalized paper napkins? Like, there's just fun, different things besides the case of beer that people can
Yeah.
bring that is not going to be that traditional guy bringing the case of beer thing.
Exactly. And I think really, if you're listening to this, you're either have a team, have a meeting, have an event coming up, part of a team, want to know how to broach it. The first thing is just to talk about it or bring it up. That's why we're doing this. I mean, it's not like we're like the two that go out and do gift things and Instagram. We're just giving ideas, but mostly it's just talking about it, because if we don't talk about it, then you get into these awkward situations where you give someone a bottle of wine who doesn't drink, or they feel not included at the holiday event because we're all doing wine tasting or something. So really thinking about the gifts that you give is the first step of just making sure that everyone feels included. And for those who are listening too, the reminder is dry January is around the corner. So you get these gifts that you can't use in January if you're planning on not drinking. And secondly, there's plenty of alcohol around all the time. So like, do something different for this. Give a gift, give a hostess gift that stands out, right? Because there's so many, it's like kind of eating around holidays. You're just like, I'm so tired of all the appetizers, right? So just do something different.
Now, I will say that with the advent of non-alcoholic wine and non-alcoholic sparkling wine, champagnes,
True.
that is a whole nother opportunity. Again, know your audience, because there are some people who might not think that that's an okay thing if they're sober. But if you're going to show up at a big party, maybe bringing a couple of bottles of non-alcoholic champagne would be a really cool thing.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. Or even there's like nice mixers that you can open a can. I mean, we have a list of them. You could just pour it over ice, donating it to the bar. So like maybe the meeting planner or your event planner or your holiday didn't think about it. So here's a 6-pack of something fun. For those, like we said, know your audience. Some people are not okay with like non-alcoholic beer or non-alcoholic wine, but some people would really, there's a lot of ones that are out there now that are not that good, but there are some that are really good. So maybe you have a favorite, bring it, right? And you might find out somebody else at the party also prefers not to drink or same drinks as you.
I have a really good idea. They could also buy a copy of your book and give that as a gift.
Wow, look at that. Look, I was actually looking. You have your book behind you. I should put my book behind me. So, The Inclusive Event Planner. So, you can download this for free on my website. You can also buy it. But if you're having an event, a holiday event for your team, this is a great place to go to. I have in here a lot of mocktail ideas. And the word mocktail is one of those things where it's like some people love it, some people don't. But for me, it's just real drinks, because adult drinks don't have to have alcohol in them. And you could actually, this is just if those are just listening, you can't see it, but you could even do like a little gift set that's just all the things to make a mocktail. And then if somebody drinks, they can add the alcohol to it if they want. That would even be like a fun little gift idea. So thank you for the plug, Margie. I didn't pay you for it, but I appreciate it.
Absolutely. So this Amazon list that we have, it's basically you and I both took the time to go through and try to envision, for whatever the person's situation might be, what types of gifts for under $25, what type of gifts for under $50, and things that are more universal and work appropriate. And so it's a starting place, but I will say that both you and I ran into, going through our separately building this list, all of the things that were focused on alcohol, and even the shot glasses and the funny memes and the t-shirts, so much of it around drinking. There is just a world of it out there, and I invite each of you to see what you can do. See what you can do to do do better, be more inclusive, and make this holiday gift giving event one that people will remember for all the right reasons.
I love
So
that. That's
thank
such a good ending for that. And that on that note, we wish you a happy gift giving holiday, because that was the perfect ending for this topic. I loved it.
Great. And we'll see you all next time at the Sober Life Rocks podcast. If you haven't already, please make sure to go to LinkedIn, search in groups for the Sober Life Rocks group, and we'll carry on the conversation there.